Hi, welcome everybody to episode 21 of our Natural Health and Astrology series. I'm Annabelle. I'm a naturopath and a health coach specializing in digestive health and also essential oils, which I'm very passionate about. And I've teamed up with my friend Laurie, who will introduce herself, and then we will go into our tips for managing your emotions during this month's new moon.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lori Barnes. I am an astrologer and a psychotherapist, and I'm here to talk to you with Annabelle about the new moon. So this is a really exciting new moon because it's also an eclipse, and we don't have eclipses very often. So it brings this kind of like unique layer to the new moon. And eclipses always come in pairs. So if you tuned in to our last episode, you would know that we had an eclipse at the full moon, the Taurus full moon. So they do always come in pairs. Every now and then there's three in a row. This one is the pairs, and this is the second one of two.
I didn't know that they come in pairs.
Yeah, always in pairs, always in pairs. There's a nice astronomical technical explanation for that, but that's really not for this video
time.
because it's really way too deep and complex. But trust me, the astronomers are also saying that they always come in pairs. Yeah. Okay, so it's a Sagittarian new moon, and it's an eclipse, and it's December, so it's like we're already in the holiday season. And as usual, there's always unique stuff for every lunation. So even though we have a Sagittarius new moon every year, it's different every year because of all the other planets and what they're doing. So you could say every Sagittarius new moon has its own flavor. And this month, we're definitely going to talk about Sagittarius in terms of the Sagittarius new moon. We just cannot talk about it in a vacuum without considering all the other things going on. And it's a busy month. Astrologically speaking, it's a very busy month, busier than normal. So I guess, strap in and get ready for the ride. So let's see, I'm going to try to just kind of like briefly go into each thing, because I know that this tends to be a shorter video and there's lots to talk about. So I'm just going to talk or touch on each of the points, and I'll go into a bit more detail on the blog. And really, to get it to an individual level, it's always best to book an appointment with an astrologer, and I'm available for appointments. So I have to say that because these are general horoscopes, and it's really hard to do anything general with an eclipse, because eclipses tend to affect you if it triggers or activates something in your chart. So not everyone will experience the eclipse in terms of like it manifesting something, but we all will feel the new moon. Like that's just something that we go through every month, and the flavor is based on the sign. And this month it happens to be Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a really outgoing sign. It's like the easygoing, happy-go-lucky, cheerful sign. It's perfect for the month of December. Most of us are celebrating holidays of some sort. I know not everybody celebrates Christmas or Hanukkah, but many people celebrate the new year and just having the end of the year kind of focus. So as we go into December, we know it's going to be busy. It's the holidays, and then we have Sagittarius, which is optimism and cheer and joy. So it's a nice new moon, just in terms of being Sagittarius to fit with the holidays. Now we're going to layer on some of those other things. So eclipses are when one of the lights gets dimmed, right? So with the lunar eclipse, it was when the Earth was shadowing the moon, and now we have a solar eclipse, and that is with the moon puts the shadow on the sun. So it has more to do with our identification, who we are, our ego, kind of like our solar self. Yeah. And right, so. And it's a south node eclipse. And so astrologers, I know that there's some of my followers are astrologers, and they'll know what that means. And it's important because when it's south node instead of the north node, there's only two, north and south, It has more to do with releasing and letting something go. And when it's the North Node, it's more about kind of tapping into the future and new beginnings. So we have this dichotomy of the new moon, which is about setting new moon intentions, and it's about starting new things or refreshing things or going into new phases. But it has this twist of having this releasing quality because of the eclipse. And that's why our episode is called Release and Renew, because in order to get kind of like go through this, the process of the new moon intention setting that we talk about every month, it includes some sort of releasing. So it's kind of like, what is in the way, or what do you need to let go of in order to go in the new direction that you want to go in? So I think that's the big thing happening as part of the new moon. And then more layers. So we have a very cool mental energy coming into this. We're going to have a lot of probably thoughts going on. It's a very creative new moon. And it's going to, we were just talking before we hit the record button about juggling and everyone's juggling all these things. And I'm like, I just wrote about that. This month, not just this new moon, but this month is just about juggling so many different kinds of energies. And we're going to have a lot of thoughts and a lot of ideas and a lot of creativity. And so capture that. It's a really great time to have new strategies to solve problems, and maybe it'll help you like say, oh, this is what I need to let go of, or what I need to get rid of, or this is the cobweb I need to clear out so I can go forward in wherever I'm going.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Nice. Also at the end of the year to have that energy, right? To kind of reflect. And
thank you for saying that. Yeah, exactly that. It really ties into this whole concept that's become part of our culture of this like new year's resolutions or New Year's goals, or whatever it is that you practice. Yeah, it's a really creative time, and it just really fits nicely, that letting go of something and that specifically leads to where it is that you want to go. We also have the physical energy boost. So it's not just a mental energy boost, but there's a physical one. It can show up as a distraction, or kind of like, juggling, like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what I want to do, but yet this I have to do, and this, and like all these things kind of like pinging from all over the place. You might be forced to really have to prioritize or have a very tight schedule. And it's that planet that I'm speaking about is Mars, and Mars is directly connecting with Jupiter. And that's important because the sign Sagittarius is a Jupiter sign. So it's very, it becomes very involved with this new moon and then the eclipse. So we're starting to feel kind of like that busyness. There's two more things. So one of them is this long-term, all year thing that's been going on. And you probably heard me talk about like the innovation versus tradition, or the rebel versus the traditionalist. And that's a long-term energy vibe that we've all kind of been living under. And you just have to look at the news to kind of understand how that plays out. And it may or may not be triggering something in your chart, but this is a long-term thing, that this is like the end of it. So we're coming to the end of this energy, but it's a hot spot, and it's happening this month. So it's like a background kind of energy that is interesting, because if you think about letting something go to go towards something new, and then we have this other energy of like kind of like holding on to traditional ways versus going to the innovative ways, like I think climate change and, the difficulties going on between wanting to stick to old oil or go to new green energy. So it's that kind of thing, but it also can show up in your chart. And again, we'd have to look at everyone's individual chart to really get into the deep details. The last thing, and I know this is a lot, but this is all the stuff that's happening. This is kind of a cool one, and it's going to be fun. And we're going to talk about it more because this is like a 3-month thing. Venus is going to go retrograde. So you almost always hear about Mercury going retrograde. You don't hear about Venus so much because it only goes retrograde about every 1.5 years. And we're coming into a retrograde. It's not like Mercury retrograde, so don't get panicked about, communication breakdowns and, don't buy a car and that kind of stuff. Don't worry about Christmas shopping, go shop. It's not that kind of thing. What it is it's going to have us all reevaluating relationships and relating style. And it really depends on the domain in life in our chart where it falls. But it's definitely about relating styles, and it can be your values, it can be money, it can be your committed relationship. It kind of depends specifically on your chart, but generally speaking, we're all going to go into this reflective mode, and we're all going to be looking at relating styles to something in our life. So it can be a really great time, again, for clearing out some cobwebs, or for discussing things that needed to be discussed that maybe you haven't wanted to. It could bring to the forefront some particular relationship things that just need to get cleared so that you can move forward. And it does take about 3 months for this energy to go. So it's not a fast moving thing. It's actually going to go retrograde on December 19th, and then it will end at the end of January. But right now, that energy is picking up, and it's involved in this new moon. So just to kind of like know that there's all these different things happening at the same time. So, get your juggling ready, because you're going to have all these things happening at the same time. But release and renew, that's kind of like the concept here, is to just be really open to experience, and to the creativity, and to this extra boost of mental energy and of physical energy, and plug forward. I think that we just have to remember, where are we going, and how are our actions, are they taking us in that direction, or are our actions taking us in a different direction? Because that's going to help you decide, like, kind of like, what am I going to do with this energy? How am I going to use it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's what you got for us for oil to help us get through all this?
The main one, I mean, there are lots of oils for cleansing, which is kind of the theme when you're thinking about releasing, renewing. The main one that comes to mind is lemongrass, which is also in a blend that doTERRA does, which is called Purify, which I've talked about in another one of these episodes. But lemongrass, it's really the oil for helping us release blocked emotions. So when we're feeling stuck, when we've got toxic energy, it's just a really powerful energy cleanser, and also a good emotional cleanser. So it's a really great one to just be diffusing during this time, be inhaling from your hands, or just from the bottle, just helping us in that process of releasing, and reflecting on what the new directions are going to be, as you described. And lemongrass, it's quite a powerful scent. You use lemongrass, don't you, Laurie? I think you're familiar with. And it's I mean, obviously it's used also in Asian cooking and things. You can even use these doTERRA oils for that, if you like that kind of food. But also on a physical level, it can be useful for supporting digestion. You can take it in a veggie capsule to support digestion. You can also use it topically on the skin. It's good for as a skin tonic for purifying the skin. It has it has properties. It's anti-inflammatory. It's actually anti-parasitic. It's antiseptic, astringent. It's also sedative, although in an uplifting way. So it's quite calming, but also lifts your mood as well. So quite a nice one to be diffusing, maybe like with a wild orange, and you know, over Christmas time. I love that kind of orange and clove and lemongrass together. Maybe you can start, you know, creating different blends. But yeah, that would be the one that I would recommend.
Sounds delicious. It makes me think of tom yum soup. Am I saying that
Oh
right?
yeah. Yeah, it's so aromatic, isn't it, when it's used
Yeah.
in cooking,
Mm.
and the oil is so pure and so concentrated. You know, in a diffuser, really you need. I mean, with lemongrass, I usually put 2 drops of the DoTerra oil in there because it's so strong. Whereas with another oil, like for example, just like a lemon oil, I'd maybe put 4 or 5. But it's yeah, it's very powerful.
Yeah, I remember I used to diffuse that when I worked in an office, and there were people down the hall, and I would always have my oils. And when I put that one in, everybody would be like, "What's that? That smells so good." It would go all the way through the building.
Yeah, it's one of the scents that lingers the most, I think, that people also notice the most. And I use it even like in my dryer. I'll add some drops of lemongrass because it's one of the oils that, as I say, yeah, the scent just lingers after, you know, for quite a long time. So it's nice.
It's really lovely. I do love
Mm.
that smell. So I have some ideas for what you can do for your new moon intentions, and then some ideas for the next couple of weeks. And so for the new moon, oh, I forgot to say when. So let me just say that. So the new moon is, for most of it's Saturday. If you're in the US on the West Coast, it's just before midnight, Friday night. So December the 3rd, it'll be like 11:43 p.m. on the West Coast of the US. If you're East Coast US, it'll be 2:43 in the morning, early, overnight. I guess you could say Friday night. And then if you're here in Rome, Italy, where we are, it'll be in the morning around 8:43 a.m. So do your new moon intentions Saturday or Sunday. That would be the perfect time to do it, because then we'll be fully in the new moon phase. So journaling, is always my number one thing to do. And of course, I'll link to the new moon intention or new moon ritual that I recommend. And so I have a ritual that I do every year, and I wanted to share that because I think that's a really great thing to do. And you can just get started, if you like to do it on New Year's or around New Year's, that makes total sense. But sometimes it helps to just get started with the writing,
Yeah, okay.
right? So I would say, so this is the ritual. I write about 4 things. So the first is, what am I grateful for this year? What happened in 2021 that you're grateful for? Then write a list of what you've achieved or accomplished that you're proud of. It doesn't have to be big, it can be as big or as small, just everything that you can think of that you accomplished. Then write down what you are happy to leave behind. And this really ties in with what we've talked about today. Like, what is it that happened in 2021 that you're going to leave in 2021? It's like that Vegas concept. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So what happened in 2021 that stays in 2021, and you're really happy about it. So make a list of those things. And then write about what you want to achieve and experience in 2022. Those are like your goals.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I do, suggest making an appointment, if you want to think about your health or your astrology for 2022. Now would be a great time to email us, one or both of us, depending on what your needs are, and make an appointment, because this is a great time of the year to just kind of like think about the year ahead. So those are things for the weekend. Really just meditate on what you want to leave behind. I mean, it's such an active new moon, and you may feel like socializing. So, go ahead. I'm not saying that, to stay in all weekend long. Sometimes I do recommend that. But on this one, I think people might feel social, and I'd say go for it. Things to do over the next 2 weeks is, this first one you can do over the weekend as well. But I'm recommending for the new moon ritual that you do, that you combine it with a releasing ritual. And the releasing rituals that I recommend, that I wrote, I should say, are, I have them with the full moon ritual. So I'm going to link to both. And so if you want a releasing ritual, you can choose one of the 4 that I have listed. If you want to do the fire sign one, Sagittarius is a fire sign. So that's the one where you know, write down what you want to get rid of and burn it. But I would combine them. That's the key, is that this new moon isn't just about new beginnings, but it's letting things go. So combine a releasing ritual with your new moon intentions. Socialize. So I already mentioned that, and I put that in the 2 weeks because sometimes, you know, people need a little time to organize. But this is, the Sagittarius is a really social sign. So if you can get together with your network, this would be a good time to socialize and talk about all these things that I mentioned today, because these are all good things to talk about with your friends. And it's a good time to start thinking about your relating style, all the different relationships you have, you know, with your intimate partner, with your friends, with your network of peers and colleagues. You know, just thinking about them, and is there something that needs to be reworked? Now's a good time to think about it, because you're going to have the opportunity over the next 3 months to work on it. But it's always good to have it in your mind what you want to do. I think that starting to write your goals is a good time to start. If you can't do it this weekend, do it over the next 2 weeks. And now more Sagittarian things. So if you've been thinking about going back to school, you've been thinking about doing any kind of long distance travel, now's a good time to research for that. Research education programs, research any kind of long distance travel that you're interested in. It may not be the time to buy, but it's definitely a good time to research and to start like formulating what you want. Mentoring is a good thing to do, or get mentored. So if you feel like you wanted to mentor others, this is a good time to get involved. Ring up a nonprofit organization, get involved, sign up as a mentor. If you need mentoring, if you're seeking it, now's a good time to seek one out. Sagittarius is related.
That would also be, in terms of mentoring, also asking for help and guidance, like from coaches, for example, like, you know, like me, like you, getting some guidance in terms of the way that you help people when they're sort of, if you're feeling like you need some extra support. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
But can it be in any area?
In any area, absolutely. Yeah. If you're looking for coaching, now is a good time. I know we're both coaches, so thank you for saying that, because
yeah. And also, as a coach, you know, they always say it's, you know, every coach should have a coach as well, you know. So also for us, it's it's a nice time to reach out to others, I think.
It is. It's funny you say that, because there's a challenge that I'm signing up for that actually starts on Monday. And I just thought, first I wasn't going to do it. And then I was like, well, this is the perfect time to do it. And this,
well, I'm really glad that you said it, because I just signed up to work with somebody as well along those lines. So I'm glad the timing is good. And
yes,
we're available to help others, aren't we, too? Because everyone needs a little bit of an outlet and a little bit of support, I think.
I think so too. Networking is so important. So even if it's informal, you know, formal's really good if you have a goal, if there's something that you want to achieve. It's always good to sign up with somebody who's going to kind of like hold you accountable and walk you through it. Even if you know what you're doing, it's still nice to have someone to bounce things off of. But also it's good if you have something to share. You know, you don't have to be one or the other. You can get mentored and be a mentor, because I'm also a mentor.
Yeah.
I have been
Definitely. Yeah, it works both ways for sure.
Yeah.
Laurie, if I need to leave, but you could just close without me. Is that okay? Because I must go. I have to pick up my kids.
Okay.
Thank you. I will be there the next time. You take care, and I say goodbye to everyone at this point.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So a couple more things that I did want to mention is that Sagittarius is involved with horses. So if there's anything horse related that you can do it. Whether it's riding a horse, or going to pet a horse. Maybe there's a horse farm, or you have friends with horses. You could watch a horse movie. Then see a comedy or a movie, and anything that makes you belly laugh. Like you laugh so hard that you're going to cry. That would be a great thing to do over the next couple of weeks, and not just one, as many as you can watch. I did want to end today's episode with a quote. So I'm going to read this quote. This is from Christine Evangelou, and it goes like this: change is supremely inconvenient, uncomfortable, and naturally scary. Yet we only move through life through the process of change, reinvention, and renewal. And so bravery is our quintessential rebel for pushing us past our own limiting beliefs and behaviors. Bravery is feeling the fear, immersing yourself into it and through it so you can come out on the other side. And I love this because I think that Sagittarians, they do have this quality of bravery and kind of like facing the fear and immersing themselves in the experience. Life is about experience. They are the adage of it's about the experience, or it's about the journey, not the destination. So keep that in mind and have a great new moon, and we'll see you next episode. Thanks, everyone. Bye.